And so we're here basically to inform you all, faculty and the public, about sustainability and renewable energy, mostly focusing on solar.
Hello, I'm Clarissa. I will be introducing the legislative proportion of our PowerPoint. I'll be introducing the Energy Efficient and Renewable Bonding Act. For instance, New Mexico Finance Authority is allowed to issue loans up to almost $20 million to state agencies such as school buildings, like NMSU. It is provided by the gross recipient's tax, and the school district building must undergo an energy efficient assessment in order to measure their electricity use to create billing costs according to that. This will help with scheduling funding and saving money in a short time frame, and this creates a installation contract that could last for 10 years, and the contract will measure every payment in order to ensure a manner most beneficial for the state. A thing to know about New Mexico is that it's the second sunniest state in the country and the fourth windiest, and we could use that to our benefit to power our school. The governor apparently saw this as an opportunity. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, she signed a legislation to make New Mexico 100% renewable by 2045, and it was passed during the 60-day legislation session. And one of their first steps was shutting down San Juan coal plant. And although we're shutting this down and people are losing jobs, it is also creating job opportunities for the renewable energy sector. And we hope that NMSU Student State has passed legislation for the NMSU to go to 100% renewable by 2050. And we're hoping for more student involvement and interest, and this will get the NMSU Board of Regents behind the project and move things along faster.
Wrong way. So just to start off, in case you guys don't know how solar panels work, mainly we're talking about PV solar panels. So solar panels are made up of solar cells, usually different layers, positive and negative, of silicon. And so when photons hit them, it excites electrons, which go through the layers of silicon, through an electrical circuit, through the inverter, and ultimately generating electricity. Solar panels have actually improved a whole bunch since the 1950s. Now they're getting so cheap that it would be almost an unsmart decision if we didn't take advantage of them. So I had the impact analysis part, so I'm going to be talking about water use, land use, the air quality, which is a factor to human health, the economics of solar energy. Real quick, socially, if we took advantage of solar energy on this campus, we'd become leaders in sustainability, which would hopefully allow other schools, states, and even other countries to follow in our suit. And it would provide health and overall safety. And I know there are some sensitivities, such as cost. Everybody thinks that solar panels are really expensive, and they kind of are, but like I said, technology is getting really advanced, so that'll be going down really soon. And of course, location, space, and availability. So for water and land use, less water is usually consumed with solar panels, and that's really important since we live in the desert and water is scarce to come by sometimes. So I think we're doing pretty good. This last year we've had a lot of snowpack up north, so the drought's not as terrible, but we usually still don't have that much water available to us. So solar usually, PV solar, uses 0 water. However, they do need to be cleaned off every now and then from dust, which makes them a little less efficient if there's dust building up on them. And as regarding land, NMSU has a bunch of land, almost approximately 100,000 acres, I think, on this campus and around surrounding areas in southern New Mexico. But there are solar panels currently on the campus, over by the Aquatic Center, there are covered parking with solar panels on top. And so I think we could utilize that and have more covered parking lots on campus everywhere. Even though that's an option, there are other options too. Using brownfield sites, Superfund sites that aren't being used, they were contaminated in the past. We could always put solar panels on those and make them more useful. So for air quality, having a lot of power plants that generate a lot of emissions isn't really helpful to human health. So in 2018, New Mexico State University emitted about 30,000 metric tons of CO2 per year, as well as 7 tons of carbon monoxide, 79 tons of nitrogen dioxide, 3 tons of volatile organic compounds, 2 tons of particulate matter, and 1 ton of hazardous air pollutants. So if we had solar panels, that would definitely be decreased. And in New Mexico in general, we have pretty good air quality actually, and about in Doña Ana County there's only about 20% of the population here that have recurring asthma or have asthma. But again, with solar panels that would probably be decreased. And in the state of New Mexico, most of our greenhouse gas emissions for 2018 came from the oil and gas industry. So economical benefits of solar panels. Currently, solar has 7 times more jobs available than coal or fossil fuel, because we need installers, we need technicians, maintenance. So there's a lot of opportunity out there for jobs. With solar panels on campus, I think university admissions would increase because students, especially in our generation, definitely care about the planet and climate change. And so being leaders in sustainability would definitely promote NMSU and more students would come, which would generate economic stimulation. We would be more energy efficient. We wouldn't have to rely on fossil fuel energies or even other electricity companies. And if we had solar panels, that would give us financial security because we wouldn't have to be taking energy from other companies.
So for the quantifiable analysis, I talked to Alfredo at Managers and Facilities. He's the manager at Facilities and Services, and he showed us the Niagara network, which is a database that shows real-time data of all the power usage on NMSU. And from this network, we found that the midday average draw was 6,500 kilowatts per hour, and the draw from El Paso Electric was around 5,500 kilowatts per hour. So from the Niagara database, we found that the El Paso Electric rate is around 6 cents per kilowatt hour, which the price per kilowatt hour and complete maintenance costs adds up to about just a little under $75,000 per year. And this makes the yearly charges for the electricity on campus just under $900,000 per year. And so I spoke with Troy, which is a consultant at Positive Energy Solar, and we discussed the design, permitting, and installation. And so for solar panels, we assume that 1 kilowatt of power produced is 5 kilowatt hours per day, and this is due to the fact that solar panels usually produce around 5 hours of maximum energy output just due to the amount of sunlight that's hitting them. So you get about 5 hours per day of maximum output. And so we took the number from earlier, the midday draw at NMSU, which is 6,500 kilowatt hours, and divided it by 5 to get 1,300 kilowatts, which would be a 1.3 megawatt system that is required. And so 1.3 megawatts converts to 1.3 million watts, and Positive Energy Solar has a flat rate of $2.50 per watt, and that's installed and running. So if you multiply 1.3 million watts times $2.50 per watt, you get a $3.25 million total cost for the entire 1.3 megawatt system. And so if you multiply the 6,500 kilowatts per day times the amount of days in a year, you'll get 2.3 gigawatts per year. and multiply that by 25 years, which is the warranty on the solar panels, and you'll get around 59 million kilowatt hours. And so if you divide the total cost by 59 million kilowatt hours, you'll get around 5 cents per kilowatt hour with the solar panels. And so just to quantify the amount of space it needs, a 1 megawatt system will use about 2.2 acres. So that's a little under 100,000 square feet. So a 1.3 megawatt system would use 2.86 acres. And so in order to prevent clutter, we decided that 5 acres would be more suitable, which is 217,800 square feet. And so 2 possible install areas that we looked at would be covered parking on the parking lots located north and west of Skeen Hall, and then a different location would be an empty lot located southeast of the main campus. And so just to show these, the top 2 pictures would be the covered parking. As you can see, the little area that's the square, the yellow square, that depicts the 2 areas that would be used for covered parking in those 2 parking lots around Skeen. And that has quite a bit more space than needed. As you can see, 277,000 square feet available with only 217,000 square feet needed. So there's enough to install the entire system just in those 2 parking lots. But also, this lot located southeast of the campus has 500,000 square feet, and so it could easily be installed there just as a solar farm, as it has twice the amount of area needed. And so I did a cost-benefit analysis, and what I did was I took the total cost of the entire system, which was $3.25 million, and then I factored in the amount of the time per day that the solar panels would be powering NMSU rather than El Paso Electric, and then I took the cost difference from the 2, and it comes out to a savings of about, I think, a little over $170,000 per year. So if you factor that in, it would take us about 17 and a half years to pay off this 1.3 megawatt system.
So one of the main questions that we knew we would be receiving was where would this money be coming from to pay for these cells, and how would we be buying these cells? So we spoke with Dr. Foster in the engineering department, and his main suggestion to us was a power purchase agreement. So according to the Solar Energy Industries Association, a power purchase agreement is a financial agreement where a developer arranges for the design, permitting, financing, and installation of a solar energy system on the customer's property at little to no cost. So the developer will maintain and basically own the solar panels for the duration of the contract that you enter, and they are responsible for all the maintenance and all of the care of the solar system while you are under that contract. So they typically range from 10 to 25 years, so that is within the range that it would take for this the system to pay itself off. And then also, at the end of the contract, there is the opportunity to either renew or purchase the system at a reduced rate. So what this would mean is that if we were to enter a power purchase agreement with an outside company, it would keep students safe from increases in tuition, and which was our main concern as students. So some of the longevity factors of just a solar system. So panels from most companies typically come with a 25 to 30-year warranty, and at the end of the warranty, panels should be working at 82.5% the original capacity. So the degradation rate of solar panels is less than 1% a year, but it differs with manufacturer, brand, and also the location of the solar system. And then depending on the weather of the area of the location, that could also affect the health of the panels. But at the same time, there is little maintenance required for long extended periods of time. So one of Another main concern was solar panels in the desert. Since it does get very hot in New Mexico, we do need to be careful just to take care of our panels. And since we are a desert, it also gets windy. We are the 4th windiest in the state. So all of the sand from our deserts, they can fly onto the solar cells, and they can reduce the efficiency of the cells. So every once in a while, obviously, hopefully, solar cells would not be getting that bad. But you would want to clean the cells to make sure that they are, or the panels to run, make sure that they are running at the best capacity. And another issue that could be had with these panels in the desert is that the sun could cause abrasions to there's like a film that is like a protective covering on top of the panels, but if that gets scratched, it doesn't take in the solar radiation as efficiently.
Yes. Oh. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. As you well know, New Mexico is the second sunniest state in the United States, just under Arizona. I think Arizona is the sunniest. So it just makes sense that we should have renewable energy from solar here on campus and throughout the New Mexico. Some of the things that people stay away from is the initial cost. That's what keeps people away. There's legislation, and so again, we can go into this power purchase agreement, which will then, it means that we can get in with zero initial cost. The main risks is in solar panels, again, that as she mentioned, some of the risks is the panels can get dirty. There are also, plants grow around it and it may shade it, so maintenance is required. But I would think that would be the obligation of the person or the company who takes over the purchase power agreement. Is there a next slide or no? Oh, no. Well, okay. This one is that mine? Is it mine? It's mine, okay. Again, one of the things that we have with this is a good thing is that they are reliable, durable, low maintenance, low cost, reduces pollution. There's job opportunities, as we all know, a lot of job opportunities, by the way. And so this is, again, I think that it'll be just a good thing for the university and for the whole state. As a matter of fact, for other schools and other universities, I think there's already some starting to do that. So thank you very much. We appreciate your attention.
And so one more thing on the resiliency is the community influence. So as people around the community start seeing NMSU using solar energy, it might sway them to try to pick that up and do that also, just because the NMSU is a pretty big influence around the local community. And so mitigation, the solar panels could aid in mitigation in a way that these panels will be used during peak hours during the day. So instead of places like El Paso Electric having to turn on alternative power sources in order to keep up with the load on the grid, the load would be lowered a little bit, as all of our peak power would be handled by solar energy. And then so also I was thinking about a reduction of the heat island effect. Whenever you concentrate solar panels in one area, many solar panels in one area, it actually produces a heat island effect. So if we did covered parking or solar farming, this actually could create a heat island effect. So a way to get away from that would be to install the panels more dispersed, do them across rooftops and not too concentrated in one area, so that the heat island effect doesn't exist. And so then the existing solar on campus, they already talked about, it's provided by Positive Energy Solar, and it's the covered parking by the Aquatic Center and the rooftop solar at the Center for the Arts.
Maybe one or two questions.